If you grew up just around the early 2000s, you'll notice when growing up that malls were probably a staple of your childhood. But once your teens and adult years hit, malls were slowly becoming a thing of the past. With once hundreds and even thousands of people shopping in them, many closing due to various different reasons like high rent, low volume in customers, and just simply being very low maintenance. Malls in the 80s to late 90s were once the biggest thing for families to not only shop, but you can even get a quick snack or even a meal. But once the late 2000s were arriving, social media, online shopping, inflation, and simply ever increasing rent, this particular mall I'm going to be talking about, of course, is called Emerald Square Mall. In the early to mid 80s, New England Development and the Pyramid Companies were the first developers of making this mall become a thing. They noticed there was a second generation, they quoted, booming of malls opening throughout the United States, with its intention of a multiple floor shopping experience for many families to gather, with plans of over 120 vendors and stores, and on top of that, with major anchor stores to attract many guests. This was also aimed to be the place for North Providence shoppers to go as well. Setting right in North Attleborough, Massachusetts, being right next to a highway that has thousands of cars passing by daily, it was a perfect spot to place the shopping center right there. On its opening day, naming it the Emerald Square Mall, which is a slight nod to the iconic movie Wizard of Oz, of course. The Emerald City where Dorothy reaches at the end of the film, it coincided with the movie just reaching its 50th anniversary, so they just wanted to honor it that way. Emerald Square Mall officially opened in the late summer of August 10th, 1989, being a massive success, leading to an opening weekend having over 300,000 customers. The mall features a massive parking garage with just over 4,300 parking spots. So the shopping center was definitely able to handle the massive traffic of families. The mall itself has 3 massive floors of shopping that anyone can spend a whole day in. The major anchors in this shopping center was JCPenney, Sears, and G-Fox in its opening debut. For me personally, I actually never heard of G-Fox, but it's basically a department store that's very similar to Job Lot. Then later in 1992, another store known as Lake Mirror was added as the 4th and final anchor for the families to shop, which again, I didn't know much about this company. It was known mostly as a discount department store. So not only does Emerald have these 4 anchors, it still had the remaining 90 stores to go around, featuring stores like The Gap, Newberry Comics, a Disney store, and even a pet store at one point. Also entertainment for teens and kids such as an arcade and even a smaller theater featuring free movie shows on occasion. Plus of course the iconic food court like in every mall. One thing that actually sticked out to me also was that there was even a few celebrity events there, featuring actors like Selena Gomez, Jesse Ventura, all there to sign autographs of course, and according to shoppers who were actually there, Selena Gomez even did a small singing event too. So things were doing great, right? You got tons of business, you have steady foot traffic, multiple successful companies and entertainment for all ages of the family. What made this once gigantic supercenter into a desolate and depressing life support of a shell that was once a mall? Well, once the store Lake Mirror left because of bankruptcy in 1997, liquidating all their products, this was possibly the first step into the decline. So once Lake Mirrors left in 1997, in 1998, the company known as Lord & Taylor, another department store, took over the vacant spot to ensure that the mall can still make maximum sales. Later that same year, the Pyramid Company sold its share of the mall to the New England Development, the original partner. With that decision in hand, New England Development later gives the property as a partnership to Simon Property Group in the year 1999. Years later in 2004, the store I mentioned earlier, Lord & Taylor, decides to close its Emerald location due to a corporate strategy of trying to get a broader range of customers, therefore leading to yet again a vacant spot in Emerald Mall. But Filene's takes the initiative of taking over that second floor, making it the second store of Filene's in that mall. Following that in 2005, there was a merge happening within the chains of Filene's. May department stores and Federated department stores were merging this into a brand new store which we all now know as Macy's. So Macy's was now the main brand that takes over the previous Filene's location. Leading into the early 2000s, smaller businesses are coming and going in the shopping center, but the mall is still doing fairly successful with an 80% occupancy and plenty of foot traffic. But it definitely wasn't as much as its heyday in the late 90s. Competitors were starting to rise, and development companies were popping up more malls around the neighboring cities, such as Providence Place Mall and Wrentham Outlets, following a slow decline to the much newer and cleaner malls. To make things worse, the online shopping sprees of customers were happening, meaning they were losing customers and sales by the day. In June of 2007, pressure was really starting to crack open the decline of Emerald. The official Massachusetts Appellate Tax Board decided that Emerald as a business was deemed overvalued and had major competitor pressures. In other words, they basically publicly stated that the mall is in a slow decline. Arriving in the 2010s, major stores like the Disney Store and Olympia were soon done and gone, various other stores following its steps as each year did not look good. More stores that left was GameStop and even Yankee Candle. But then one year that obviously had a huge impact on not only Emerald Square Mall, but the world. You probably knew where I was going with this, but the COVID-19 pandemic had a remarkably huge impact on Emerald, making them close in June of 2020 for many months on end, leaving many more small businesses to bankruptcy. Reopening back up in January of 2021, a whole 7 months of no sales or business. To make things worse, Emerald took an even harder blow with the closing of Sears, including the nationwide remaining stores. A major company that was in it since the beginning, now bankrupt and closed in 2021. 2022 and 2024, there is little to no foot traffic happening anymore. They don't even bother putting up the Christmas decorations either. Smaller stores like FYE, Newberry Comics, both stores closing the next year. Bath & Body Works was also closing the next year. A local business known as Toy Vault still remains with just a handful more. The food court is just very unfortunate, with possibly 2 or 3 food places to eat. And just simply walking through the mall, you can even see multiple leaks everywhere on the rainy and snowy days.
Storm. Fire officials had to temporarily close the mall here. They say that it's due to a water leak caused by snow and ice accumulation on the roof. And after investigating, firefighters found several areas through the mall where water was leaking through the roof.
Almost every single escalator is out of order now too. Something really has to change, but supposedly a few things are happening behind the scenes as of right now. In 2022, the Simon Property Group then sells their ownership onto a new company known as Cohen Retail Investment Group. This specific company was known to try to revitalize dying malls, to lift them back up on their feet. Also, in 2023, the officials of North Attleborough proposed an idea to convert the Sears into an apartment building. That way, there's still some type of life in the mall, but was then later denied that same year, unfortunately. Now is the year 2025. Cohen decides to sell their ownership just 3 years later to Summit Properties USA.
For people who grew up going to the Emerald Square Mall in Attleborough, it's been bought by a company seeking to revive the mostly vacant mall. Emerald Square announced on Facebook today that it's been bought by Summit Malls Management LLC, saying they're, quote, bringing back the fun, the local love, and the kind of shopping experience that makes you want to stay a while.
Again, with the intention of revitalizing the Emerald Mall. But in my personal opinion, it's really not looking so bright for the future of this once beautiful and booming mall to now a depressing and struggling wasteland with only 8 or so shopping places, possibly less now as I'm making this video. Emerald Square Mall is possibly one of the staples of nostalgic 90s and early 2000s mall vibes, being a huge success to an unexpected failure. Also, if you go around there now, it is very liminal space vibes too, and I honestly kind of love that. So what do you guys think? Do you think it's a lost cause? Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and like and subscribe. Also guys, let me know if I should cover more dead malls.